Hello and welcome to Rathods IAS Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see very important articles that appeared in our today's newspaper. First of all, I'll let you know important topics of the day, and later on we are going to see each and every topic from prelims and as well as mains point of view, and I'll let you know how questions can be asked related to that topic. And at last, I'll be giving you prelims practice questions so that you can understand how questions can be framed from that topic. Okay, let us see the topics of the day. And today is Saturday. There is no opinion page, there is no text and context, or a very less number of articles in our paper. So first topic is walking on footpath is a fundamental right, says Supreme Court. Again, there is extension of certain fundamental rights. In that, Supreme Court included that walking on a footpath is a fundamental right. And this article is important from polity point of view from GS paper. And next topic is Pakistan is an example of Frankenstein state, India says at United Nations. In United Nations, Pakistan and OIC made certain statements regarding Jammu and Kashmir. In return, India also gave answer for that kind of things in United Nations, and directly in United Nations, India said that Pakistan is an example of Frankenstein state. So you have to know what is the meaning of this and why India made this statement, and this is important from your international relations from GS paper 2. And next topic is 4 glacial lakes in Arunachal have expanded in a decade, says study. So this article is talking about glacial lakes. Here we have to know what exactly is that glacier and what is this glacier lake and why this expansion of this glacier lakes are happening, and you have to see what is the impact and what are the steps to be taken by government to control this kind of expansion of glacier lakes. And this topic is important from environment and ecology from GS paper 3. And next topic is sickle cell anemia to be eradicated by 2047, says our president. Our president made a statement regarding one disease called as sickle cell anemia. If any of our delegates, if they give this kind of statements, that will become very important from UPSC point of view. UPSC can give you either mains question or a prelims question based on it. And this topic is important from science and technology point of view. And next topic is defection as merger. The 10th schedule is hollowed out by unprincipled politics. So this article is talking about one important schedule of our Indian Constitution, that is 10th schedule. This 10th schedule talks about anti-defection law. So here this article is talking about what are the loopholes which are there in our anti-defection law, and many a times UPSC asked both prelims and mains question related to anti-defection law. So here you have to know about it, and this is from your polity from GS paper 2. So all these are the important topics now you are going to see in this class. Okay, read this title is walking on footpath is a fundamental right, says Supreme Court. So what you have to know here, first of all, what is a footpath? What is a footpath? On the both sides of road, there will be some space where people can walk. That is called as footpath. Walking on a footpath is a fundamental right said by Supreme Court. So now, just guess why Supreme Court said this. What might be the issue? Because everyone will be using this footpath. Maintenance. Okay, next. Any other guesses why Supreme Court said it is a fundamental right? Yes, motor vehicles sometimes move on this footpath, that may cause accident. Exactly the same thing happened. So here, if you want to understand the case why Supreme Court said this or gave this judgment, if you want to understand that case, the case is, there is one case, there is motor accident, and because of this motor accident, actually father and son, they are moving on this footpath, and motorcycle came and hit the son, and he is around 5 years old, and 5 years old boy was crushed there itself, and he died on spot, and he filed a case. And in this motor accident compensation case, Supreme Court gave this verdict that yes, walking on footpath is a fundamental right. Are you understanding? So this is not for the first time which happened in India. Many a times accidents will cause on this footpath also. Because of this, it will be affecting the life of people. So which articles will be getting affected because of this kind of accidents? Article 21. What is Article 21? Right to life and personal liberty. Apart from that, is there any article which is affected? Right to movement. Which article talks about it? Article 19 subclass D talks about right to movement. So these two articles are getting violated. So because of this, Supreme Court directly said walking on footpath is a fundamental right. Okay, now let us see in detail about this. Okay, Supreme Court of India declared the freedom to walk on demarcated and that to well-maintained footpaths is a fundamental right. And this ruling is linked to some articles in our constitution, that is Article 19(1)(d), which talks about right to movement, and Article 19(1)(a) talks about right to freedom of speech and expression. And this one is Article 91(b). Overall, it is talking about Article 19, it is nothing but right to freedom. And next one is Article 21, it talks about right to life and personal liberty. Okay, so if UPSC wants to give a question on this, how UPSC give a question in prelims and as well as mains? If you see PYQs of UPSC related to prelims, many a times they asked directly question related to Article 21. So whenever there is any judgment regarding the expansion of Article 21, UPSC has a tendency to ask on it. Again, this is also a judgment of Supreme Court which expanded fundamental rights. That means you can expect a question on this next year. The question may go in this format. Freedom to walk on footpaths is a fundamental right which declared by Supreme Court recently, related to which of the following articles? Option A, Article 14 and 21. Option B, 19 and 21. Option C, 20 and 21. So like that, they may give you articles. So it is related to Article 19 and as well as Article 21. Okay. And whenever there is any Supreme Court judgment related to fundamental right, so from fundamental rights point of view, UPSC can give you a question. Consider the following statements regarding fundamental rights. And they may give you 2 to 3 statements related to fundamental rights. It may be articles, it may be enforceability, or it may be articles which are available for only citizens of India. So like that, it may include all those things and it may give a single question. That is the second format. And third format of question is, we have different Supreme Court judgments related to this fundamental rights. They may give you a question this way. Consider the following pairs. And in one column, they may give you about the name of that Supreme Court judgment. On another side, they will ask you interpretation of that Supreme Court judgment, what it said. And they may ask you to identify correct pairs. In the 3 formats, you may get a question in your prelims. Okay. And in mains, how UPSC can give you a question? It is talking about walking on footpath. And Supreme Court said it is a fundamental right. Recently, Supreme Court gave a judgment that walking on footpath is a fundamental right. In the light of these statements, explain the challenges in our country to ensure fundamental rights and suggest some measures. In that way, UPSC can ask you a question. Okay. So now let us see what are the constitutional bases related to this judgment. First one is very important one. Article 19(1) subclass D. What it says? It talks about freedom of movement. Article 19(1) subclass D guarantees the right to move freely throughout the territory of India. Throughout territory of India, Indian citizens can move freely. It is their fundamental right under Article 19(1)(d). And Article 21, what it says, right to life and personal liberty. So this article protects life and personal liberty, and under this article, Supreme Court is saying that safe pedestrian movement is part of this Article 21, because if anything wrong happens on this footpath, obviously their life will be getting affected. If there is any accident, if there is any loss of life directly, or if there is any fracture of any bone, any part of the body, obviously it will be affecting their right to life. So because of this, what happened? Now Supreme Court stated that movement of motorized vehicles cannot override. So you have to make a note. In Supreme Court judgment, it stated that the movement of motorized vehicles cannot override the right of pedestrians to use footpaths. Okay, and not only that, Supreme Court directed state governments to maintain proper demarcated footpaths on the both sides of the roads. Okay, this is about this, guys, nothing more than that. Okay, what is significance of this judgment? Now this judgment places the duty of the state or the duty of the government to maintain proper demarcate. In some areas we don't have footpaths also, right? So in that areas they have to construct this footpaths, and not only construction, and even they have to maintain this footpaths. And who has to take care of this? Urban development bodies, municipal corporation, municipalities and panchayats. You are now responsible for maintaining and construction of footpaths. Okay, that's it, guys. And see this next article. Pakistan is an example of a Frankenstein state. India says at United Nations. What is the meaning of this? What do you understand by reading this title? Online students, tell me in the comment box, what is the meaning of this title? Pakistan is an example of Frankenstein state. India says it United Nations. To understand this statement, you have to know what happened in United Nations. So if you know that background, then we can understand and we can interpret why India gave this statement. Okay, to understand that you have to see this paragraph. Okay, so there is United Nations High Commissioners meeting is going on, dialogue is going on in United Nations. In that dialogue, Pakistan and different countries participated, even India. So whenever this kind of meetings will happen, so which kind of issue will raised by Pakistan? Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir is mine, but India occupied this Jammu and Kashmir. So this will be the common concern raised by Pakistan in this kind of high level meetings. The same thing did by Pakistan. Pakistan raised this issue of Jammu and Kashmir in this meet. And this time we have this group called as OIC. OIC is nothing but Organization of Islamic Cooperation. That means this Islamic countries, they form a group called as OIC. So this time OIC also supported Pakistan related to this Jammu and Kashmir, and they raised this issue in this meet. And what happened? And in that meet, even India is participating. From Indian side, Anupama Singh, she is first secretary at India's permanent mission to United Nations, and she is participant. She is representing India in that meet. And after once this issue raised by Pakistan and OIC, they compelled India to answer. Yes, India has to answer to this. In that compelling answer, she gave this statement. Okay, so this is the background. And now let us see what is that statement and what is the meaning of that state. Okay. If you see that statement, what she said is, Pakistan is a country where whoever the sitting defense minister is there, that defense minister will host, will train, will deploy terrorists as part of their state policy. And yet, Pakistan calls itself as a victim of terrorism. Are you understanding the statement? So here, what is the meaning of this Frankenstein state is the state which will go for state-sponsored terrorism. That means the government of Pakistan itself will go for training of terrorists, will fund for this terrorist, and on another side, what they'll say, we are only the victims of terrorism. So that kind of claims will be done by Pakistan. So it is an example of Frankenstein state. And she also said that we are not going to accept that claims that India occupied Jammu and Kashmir. In return, what she retaliated is Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India. We didn't occupy this Jammu and Kashmir, and we directly rejected the claims of Pakistan and OIC in this United Nation. Okay, so that is the thing which happened, guys. So here you may get this question. Recently, India said Pakistan as a Frankenstein state. What this Frankenstein state refers to, and under that A, B, C, D options can be given in UPSC Prelims, and you have to choose one. And if you see this 2026 paper also, if this kind of terms will be there in news, obviously UPSC will ask a question on it. I'll give you one example. Crowdfunding is seen in news, what it is, and they gave A, B, C, D options. In the same way, Frankenstein state is in news, what it is. A, B, C, D options you may get. So that means nothing but the country which is focusing on state-sponsored terrorism. That means the government itself will fund, will train, will skill this terrorist as a part of their policy. And in turn, what they'll showcase? They'll showcase that they are victims of terrorism. That is the meaning of this Frankenstein state. To make you understand related to that word, I took this article, guys. And obviously, whenever this kind of high-level meetings will happen, Pakistan will raise this concern of Jammu and Kashmir, wherever it will be. Obviously, our country and our delegates will try to retaliate that by giving this kind of statements. Okay, see this, guys. 4 glacial lakes in Arunachal have expanded in a decade, say study. What is the meaning of this article? What do you understand by reading this title? Read the title. There is increasing of glacial lakes. Okay, what is the meaning of a glacial lake? Water? Huh? Ice melts and they form lakes. Okay. To understand this, again, you have to go to our geography. In geography, especially in your Indian geography, you will be studying about physiographic divisions of India. So, how many divisions are there in India? Physiographic divisions. Here we have what? Himalayas. And here we have desert. What is the name of that desert? Sahara desert? Thar desert, right? And here we have peninsula. And here we have Great Plains or Northern Plains. And we have coast. Western coast and eastern coast. Here we have Andaman Nicobar, here we have islands. So these are the important physiographic divisions of India. We have Himalayas, we have plateau region, we have northern plains or Indo-Gangetic plains, we have desert, we have coast, and we have islands. All these things you will be studying in your Indian geography. Okay. So you know about Himalayas. How these Himalayas were formed? Yes. So Himalayas are nothing but formed because of sediments. What happened was, earlier we used to have this Indo-Australian plate together, that to the southern hemisphere, and here we have Eurasia, Europe and Asia continent together. Indian plate moved towards northwards and it hit this Eurasian plate. And here whatever the sea we have, it is called as Tethys Sea. The sediments in this Tethys Sea raised up and it formed Himalayas. Okay, so that is a phenomena related to the formation of Himalayas. But why these Himalayas are covered with snow? What do you think? Snow and ice. Why they are called as glaciers? It is also called as third pole. You know this, right? We have normally two poles, 90 degrees north, 90 degrees south. And this polar region is covered with what? Ice. Why ice is there in this polar region? Why? If you take this as Earth, we have equator, Tropic of Cancer, Arctic Circle, North Pole, 90 degrees south, South Pole, Antarctic Circle, Tropic of Capricorn. So whatever the rays that will come, that will get from the sun, we will be getting vertical rays till this tropical region. And if you go to polar regions, it will be slanting. So because of this, we will receive more amount of heat in this tropical region. And if you go to poles, there will be less amount of sunlight received. And even we have a tilt. Because of that, poles will be receiving sunlight only 6 months. 6 months they will not receive any sunlight. Because of this, what happened? There is ice in this polar region. India is located in where? At present, northern hemisphere, above this equator, yes. And especially this Tropic of Cancer will be moving on Earth or passes through our India. Okay. So here we have Himalayas. So can you tell me what is the average height of this Himalayas? Okay, highest peak is Mount Everest. Next, one more peak. Kanchenjunga, we have K2. So what is the height? It will be about 8 kilometers. Yes, it will be about 8 kilometers. Okay, let us consider this is Earth's surface. This is Earth's surface. Whenever we are moving away from Earth's surface, whenever we are moving up, what happens? Temperature increases or decreases? Decreases. Okay, this concept is called as, anyone? Normal lapse rate. Normal lapse rate is nothing but whenever you are moving up from the Earth's surface, the temperature will be decreases. But how much temperature it will be decreases? For every 165 meters, it will be 1 degree centigrade drop. Okay? I am telling from 1 degree centigrade. So that I will calculate here. For example, let us take what will be the temperature on the Earth's surface now. Today, what is the temperature in Hyderabad? Early morning temperature? 24. 24? Okay, around 28 let us take. If you go above this 165 meters, temperature will be 27. Again 165 meters, 26. Again 165 meters, 25. So what is the height of this Himalayas? What will be the temperature? It will be like minus. Yes. And in atmosphere, what is the composition of our atmosphere? We have nitrogen, we have oxygen, carbon dioxide, inert gases plus water vapor. What is meaning of water vapor? Whenever temperature is raised, water will be converted into vapor state. Is that possible to present this water vapor at that height? That too at 0 degrees or minus degrees? Then what happens? It will be in the form of ice. So because of this hefty mountains are covered by ice. They are called as glaciers. Understood? Okay. So what is this glacier lake now? Now what is happening across the planet Earth? Global warming is happening. Climate change is happening. Increased temperature. So because of this increased temperature, what happens? Ice and snow will melt, or it will be in that stage only. It will melt. Okay. Let us take this is Himalaya, which is covered with ice, snow, whatever it may be. So temperature increased. Then what happened? Melting of this ice or snow happens. If there are any depression, you know this depression, right? If you are moving on to a hill, like normally we'll go for our pilgrimage centers on these hills, right? So we can say small depressions are there. So what happens is water will come and it will be piled up in this depressions. Then this is called as now glacial lake. Because of this melting of ice and snow which is there on these glaciers due to climate change or increased global warming, this water will be get collected in the depressions and they form this glacial lakes. Is this good? Ice is melting and it is forming lakes. Is that good? The problem with this lake is, if there is more melting of ice, water in this lake will be increased or decreased? Increased. So, if the water is more than its capacity, then what happen? Can it hold the water? It will break. Yes, it will break and what happen? Water will come outside. It will lead to floods. So, this flood is called as glacial lake outburst flood. Okay, glacial lake outburst flood. So, now the same thing which is happening in this Arunachal Pradesh, increased temperature, global warming, that led to faster pace of melting of ice. And not only that, now we have monsoon season. So, whenever there is heavy rainfall, because of that rainfall also this ice and snow will melt. Then what happen? Expansion of this glacial lakes can happen. And if the water is getting into that lake which is beyond its capacity, that may break. That will cause glacial lake outburst floods. I understood the phenomena. So now come to this article and read out the title. 4 glacial lakes in Arunachal have expanded. From last 10 years, decade is nothing but 10 years, right? From last 10 years, 4 glacial lake size had been increased in this Arunachal Pradesh region. Now you guys tell me why it is happening. What is the reason? Global warming, next. Rainfall, next. Any other reasons? Anthropogenic examples. Excessive pollution, okay, next. Do you know? Okay, I'll tell you one more concept here. If you're using more vehicles, from vehicles, and if you're going for shifting, do you know the shifting cultivation? Yes, slash and burn cultivation will be done by majorly tribal people in this northeastern part of India. They'll go and they'll cut the patch of forest and they'll go and they'll burn all those things and they will do agriculture, and after 2 to 3 times, what happens? They will leave that place and they'll move on to another patch of land. Yes. So whenever you are burning this kind of fossil fuels, what will be released into atmosphere? Carbon dioxide and even PM, particulate matter 2.5 and particulate matter 10. That is called as soot. Have you seen, if there is a rice mill also, we'll get soot from that, black color soot, right? So what happens if this black color particles are settled on this ice? What happens? Is that good? What is the nature of black? It will absorb more heat. If it is absorbing more heat, what happens? More melting will happen. That is also one important reason related to this melting of glaciers and expansion of glacial lakes. That is nothing but black carbon or soot or PM 2.5 or PM 10, whatever it may be. Because of this black carbon also there is increased rate of melting of glaciers. Okay, if UPSC wants to ask a question on it, is it a small thing? If you're not controlling that, in future it may cause glacial lake outburst flood and it will be impacting the life of people and loss of property can happen. So if UPSC wants to give a question on this, how it can give question means? Come on, think. Now you have to think. Okay, from GS paper 4, it may give a case study. Okay, from GS paper 3, environment, how it can give a question? Yes, measures, it may ask. Next, causes, very good. Next, that only measures and causes. Okay, yeah, it can ask question on causes, it can ask question on suggest some measures. Okay, now let us see this. A satellite-based assessment of 5 glacial lakes in Tawang district of Arunachal Pradesh found that the 4 glacial lakes are expanding. from last 1 decade, and there is a threat of glacial lake outburst flood. Okay, because of this expansion, obviously we will be having this threat of glacial lake outburst flood in this eastern Himalayas part. Why the glaciers are expanding? The first one is rising of temperature. It is because of global warming. That is the first one. And next one here is increased melt water from glacial flows into lakes. Temperature is increasing, melting is happening, and inflow of water to these lakes is also increasing. And next one is, there is also moraine dams are increasing. Do you know this moraines? Have you heard this word moraines? Okay. Moraine means nothing but it is a depositional feature. Okay, I'll tell where exactly you'll study. In your world geography, you will be studying one chapter called as landforms. In that, you will be studying about landforms formed by running water, landforms formed by groundwater, winds, waves, glaciers. So here we are talking about glacier, right? Same diagram. For example, let us take, there is one ice block which is there on this glacier. So what happens? Because of increased temperature, ice will melt. Yes. So have you ever touched this ice cube? Have you ever took this ice cube in your hand? So what happens? This, whenever this ice cube is melting, it will become very slippery. It will not stay in one place, right? So because of this melting of ice, what happened? Layer of water will be formed under this ice. Because of this, it will make slippery. Then what happened? Across the slope, it will try to come down. So if there are any sediments which are there on these glaciers or under this ice, they will be also moving and they will be bringing sediments. And the sediments will be acting as a wall of the lake. That is called as moraine. Moraine is nothing but depositional landform formed by the glacier. Clear? Okay, if melting is happening and more sediments are coming, and if that more and more sediments are forming this base or outline of this lake, means obviously the size of the lake will be increased. That is that point. And next one here is, there is a huge threat for this Arunachal Pradesh from this 4 glacial lakes. So what is the impact? The first one is, there is a risk of glacial lake outburst flood, and because of that, what happens? There will be breaking of moraine dams, and that will lead to a large inflow of water. And next one here is, sometimes it may also leads to avalanche. What is the meaning of avalanche? In many movies, you might be seeing that ice will be just coming and falling down suddenly on the vehicles on this road, and it will be blocking the road. That is called as avalanche. It's nothing but the sudden mass movement of ice and snow. And next one here is landslides. You know about this landslides? Rock falls, rocks will be falling down. So because of this glacial lake outburst flood, entire that region will be getting unstable, and whatever thing which is there, that will be coming and falling down. And next one is obvious, it will be threat to the villages which are there at the foot of that mountains or hills. And next one here is, it is also a nation concern now, because there are around 189 high risk glacial lakes are there in this entire Himalayan region. So if the melting will happen at the same pace, means the people who are living in this region will be getting vulnerable. Okay, you may get a case study in your ethics. You are a district collector and posted in one Himalayan district. Recent satellite images said that there is increasing or expansion of glacial lake. If the burst happens, it will be a threat to your district. And many people in your district are elderly and women, children, population is high. So which kind of measures you will take? So like that, UPSC can give you a case study related to that. Huh? Okay. Mm. Water will be converted to ice. Uh, uh, it will reflect. Okay, okay. I understood. I understood. You're talking about cloud seeding. Okay, next. Next. So think in that way. Today I'll be giving you case study on this. Just try to write a case study. Okay, next. See this article, guys. Sickle cell anemia to be eradicated by 2047, says President. Recently, our Home Minister said that we are going to eliminate Naxalism by 2026. This year, sure, there will be question on that. And earlier, government made a statement that we are going to eliminate TB by 2025, but we didn't reach that target. But in that year, UPSC asked question on that. So again, one more statement related to the disease. So you may get a question on that in 2027 for sure. In prelims, how you can get a question is consider the following statements regarding sickle cell anemia. And they'll give you 2 to 3 statements and they'll ask you to identify correct or incorrect. That is a one format of question. And second one is we have different diseases. They will combine the diseases and they may give you pair-based. Okay, so how they will give a question is, recently what are the diseases in news? We have Nipah virus, we have Ebola virus, Hanta virus, sickle cell anemia, like that. And they'll give you 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll give you A, B, C, D like this, and they will ask you to match the following. Actually, I want to say one thing. So before 1990s, they used to give this match the following based questions. But again in 2026, UPSC started with the reverse trend. They are asking this kind of match the following questions. From in 2027, you can see at least 3 to 4 questions on this match the following. Even this time they ask this kind of match the following questions in CSAT. I think 2 or 3 questions are there in CSAT also. That means the trend is coming back. That means you have to know exactly in previous years how UPSC gave the question, how many formats. Especially from 1980 onwards you have to see, so that you can understand like, this type of question UPSC already gave. That means this type of question can be given. So you will be getting an idea. You will be knowing the formats of the question UPSC gives. Okay, in this way you may get a question like disease on one side, causative organism. Okay, so like that you may get match the following question, or else you may get statement based question. Okay, let us see some facts regarding this sickle cell anemia. Anemia is related to blood. Okay, in blood, how many types of blood cells do we have? RBC, WBC and platelets. We have 3 types. Platelets are also blood cells. So we have 3 types of blood cells: RBC, WBC and platelets. What is the function of RBC? Carrying oxygen, not pumping, carrying oxygen to different cells. What about WBC? It is our defense system. If there is any foreign particle enter into our body, WBC will get activated. They will go and they will fight with them. If our WBC wins, we will not get disease. If our WBC fail, we will get disease. Then what about platelet? If there is any cut, it will helpful for clotting, so that there will be no blood loss. On this UPSC gave question, because of that I am asking. Don't think that why ma'am is asking about the science based questions. If you see before 1994 or 1995, UPSC gave the science based questions also. They are more actually in number compared to the other subjects. Okay, so if you see here, the sickle cell disease or sickle cell anemia is related to RBC. So first of all, tell me what is the shape of this RBC? It will be like disc-like. It will be in this shape exactly. They are called as disc or biconcave shape. So what happens in the sickle cell anemia is the shape of this RBC will be changed to this sickle. You know this sickle, right? So exactly the shape of this RBC will be changed into this sickle cell. This is a genetic disorder. It is not caused by any bacteria, or it is not caused by any virus or any pathogen. It is a genetic problem. Okay. So normally what happens, let us take this is a blood vessel. In this blood vessel, this RBC will be moving in this way. If they are in this shape, the movement will be happen at a very easy way, and there will be no blockade of our blood vessels. But what happened in the sickle cell anemia? The shape of this RBC is like this. So whenever, and our blood will be moving at a some pressure called as blood pressure, right? What is the blood pressure? 120 by 80, not 80. 120 by 80 is the blood pressure of our body, right? So whenever the blood is moving with that pressure, what happens? So this ends will be like sharp. It is like sickle. Then what happens? It can make this wall to get rupture, and it will cause harm to our blood vessels. What happens? The bleeding can happen inside our blood vessel, and not only that, they will clump together and they'll form the clots. Okay, that is one more problem. And what is the, how many days this RBC can live? 120 days. Normally in 120 days it will function. After 120 days this will die and it will go to spleen, right? So what happens here is, whenever the shape of this RBC changes to like this, the RBC life will also be reduced. And next one here is, whatever the carrying capacity of oxygen is there for this RBC, it will be reduced when it changes to this shape. Because of this, what happened? Overall performance of that person will be getting affected, and they will not get proper oxygen which is required for their body cells, and they'll feel lethargy, and they'll get giddiness, and overall the performance of that person will be affected. And if you see, there is no proper treatment also, because it is a genetic disorder. Okay, so now let us see all those things and just note down the points what I dictate. The first one is, it is inherited blood cell disorder. Please make a note, inherited blood cell disorder. What is the meaning of inheritance? That will pass from parents to children, because it is a genetic disease. If mother is having that disease, obviously children will be getting that disease. Inherited blood cell disorder, and affects RBC. Affects RBC, decreases oxygen carrying capacity. Write down in short form, lowers oxygen carrying capacity, and it leads to life-threatening complications. Life-threatening complications. Next one is, they form blood clots. They form blood clots. They form blood clots. And they can also stick to vessels. They can also stick to vessels. They can also stick to vessels. Okay, that's it, guys. And if you see, what are the signs and symptoms of this disease is extreme tiredness. Lera ante chetaga atla. Ba. So you know how you'll feel lethargy and lazy when your body is not active. They will have this from childhood onwards. And next one is painful swollen hands and feet, and they will be having jaundice. You know this jaundice, right? What happens in jaundice? Yellow discoloration of skin, eyes, yellow color urination. Why? Because the breaking of RBC happens at a very faster rate. If RBC breaks, the yellow color liquid will be released into the blood. Because of that, our face, our eyes, everything will be appearing like yellow in color. And next one is, in later stages, severe pain, anemia, organ damage, and high rate of infections can be seen in that patient. And if you want to go for treatment, we have to go for advanced bone marrow transplant. I think you might have heard about this bone marrow transplant. So we have to go for bone marrow transplant. It is genetic disease, so we can go for gene therapy, but it is very costly. Okay, say this article, guys. Title says, defection as merger. The 10th schedule is hollowed out by unprincipled politics. So this topic is talking about anti-defection law. Okay, what is the meaning of defection? What is meaning of defection? You have to know this. For example, I contested in elections from Congress party. For example, I contested in elections from Congress party and I won the elections. But what happened after winning the elections? I will shift on to BRS, another political party, right? So because of this, what happened? This concept is called as defection. Is that right? I am contesting in elections from one political party, and people believe me that yes, from Congress party I will be serving them. But after I won election, I am jumping into another political party. To stop this, our government came up with this anti-defection law. This concept of shifting from one political party to another political party is called as defection. To stop this, government came up with this anti-defection law. Actually, when we made this constitution, at that time we don't have this provision. But later on, we added 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act, and through that amendment to the constitution, we added this anti-defection law. Okay. So here you have to know 4 to 5 important areas. First one is what is defection and what is anti-defection law and which amendment added this to our constitution. And next one is what are the provision of this anti-defection law. So here you have to know 4 to 5 important points. And next very important thing you have to see is 91st Constitutional Amendment Act. What changes we brought to this anti-defection law by this 91st Constitutional Amendment Act you need to know. And next you have to know what is the need, why we need this anti-defection law. And next, if you want to suggest any reforms, what are those reforms to this anti-defection law, you need to know that. Every time, yearly, at least 20 to 30 times, this anti-defection law will be there in news. Okay, and UPSC asked question many a times in prelims and also in mains related to this anti-defection law. So now, do you understood what is the meaning of defection and what is anti-defection law? So now I will be telling you what are the provisions. Okay, for example, if there is any person who elected from one political party and voluntarily if he is joining another political party, then what happened? He will be disqualified. Voluntarily, if I am changing my political party from Congress to another political party, then I will be getting disqualified. And next one is we have independent members. Do you know these independent members, right? They will be not from any political party. They will be contesting in elections independently. So, independent members should not join any political party normally. If they join any political party, then they will be disqualified. That is second condition. Independent members should not join any political party. If they join means they will be disqualified. And we have nominated members, right? Governor will be nominating members in Legislative Assembly. President will be nominating members in Rajya Sabha, right? So if these nominated members, they have a choice. What is that? Before 6 months, they can join any political party. Before 6 months, you can join. But if you join after 6 months, again disqualified. Okay. So these are the important provisions when we are disqualifying. So here you have to know exemption. The exemption is if 1/3, if there is a political party in this way, if 1/3 members they split from this and if they join any political party, there is no disqualification under 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, so here what we made is we came up with changes to this. That is under 91st Constitutional Amendment Act, we changed this. Earlier it is 1/3, but now we change it into 2/3. If 2/3 of party is coming out and they're joining any other political party, there is no disqualification. Earlier it was only 1/3, but through 91 Constitutional Amendment Act, we increased that number to 2/3. For what? To improve political stability. Okay. And here you have to know one important person. So who will decide whether that person is disqualified or not? If they are changing any political party, we have presiding officer. Who is that presiding officer in Lok Sabha? He is speaker. In Rajya Sabha, chairperson. Okay, in Rajya Sabha, chairman. Who is chairman? Vice president, right? Vice president is chairperson, and we have speaker in Lok Sabha. If you go to state level, we have state legislative assembly. Here we have speaker. In council, again chairman. So these are the person who is responsible to decide whether that will comes under defection or not. But what is the time? Within how many days they have to decide it? Again, there is a problem. Our constitution, in our 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act, it is not written anywhere about within how much time they have to decide. That is one problem related to this defection. Okay, now you guys tell me, what do we need this kind of law? Yes, what is the need? Why we need this anti-defection law? Online students, tell me in the comment box. Why we need this anti-defection law? If UPSC wants to ask a question, it will ask on what is the need, what are the challenges, suggest way forward. So in that way, it may ask. So now why it is in news is, issues are going related to MPs. 6 Shiva Sena MPs are seeking to join Eknath Shinde faction of Sena. No need of remembering all these things. Obviously, every time this will be news only. Just remember, if one person is shifting from one political party to another political party, is called as defection. To stop this, we have anti-defection law, which is not present in our original constitution, which is added through 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Remember that thing, guys. Okay, if you see this, what is the need? So here you have to know this Ayaram Gayaram politics. So what happened was, before this amendment made, before this 57th Constitutional Amendment, through which we added this anti-defection law, there was one famous frame called as Ayaram Gayaram. So at that time, there was one MLA from Haryana. He joined political party, he shifted political party thrice in a single day. So what happens if he is changing from one political party? By the evening, he will be not that political party. By the night, he will be shifting to another political party. So because of this, what happened? People will be getting confused. And even political parties will be getting confused. And we don't know what happens tomorrow. So because of this, they thought that no, it is not fair. So we have to bring a law. That is the one reason why we need to prevent this Ayaram Gayaram politics. And this one is obviously why the people will be shifting to one more political party for their personal benefits. That means we have to curb this money power. And to enhance stability, cohesion in the political party, we need this law. Okay, and we have to ensure responsibility and loyalty in the people also. For that reason, we need to have this kind of law. Okay, so here if you see the suggestions related to this anti-defection law, how we can make it strengthen. Who is the deciding authority? Speaker. Yes. So here second ARC reform also suggested that we have to give this power to president or governor on advice of Election Commission of India. We should not give this power to speaker. Why speaker? Mostly the speaker will come from ruling party only. Yes, mostly ruling party person will become speaker. Then what happens? If opposition party people will be joining this ruling party, will this guy decide that this anti-defection law, will disqualify? For sure, no. So because of this, we need to have an impartial member. That is the recommendation of second ARC reform. This power should be given to president or governor on aid and advice of Election Commission. And next one is, we have to remove the role of speaker. That authority should be given to Election Commission. And next one is, we have to allow independent parties to join the parties also. So here, as the person who had been contested in elections as independent, so he is not able to join any other political party. So now this reform also saying that we have to allow this persons who contested from this independent candidates also they can join this political party. And next one is we have to provide a grace period. What is grace period? So if a person, I shifted from so and so political party to another political party, I have to get a time. I need to have a timeline. I have to show that yes, I joined that political party genuinely, and I and that time will help me to show like what is the loyalty of mine to that new political party. That is also one recommendations given by ARC. And next one here is time frame. So if you want to give the authority to speaker or chairman, so we have to impose a time limit on the speaker or chairman to decide whether it comes under anti-defection or not. Normally they are recommending 3 months of time. That means within 3 months of time, speaker has to decide whether it is defection or not. Okay, so these are the reforms. And see the questions, guys. Consider the following statements related to 91st Constitutional Amendment Act. First one, 91st Constitutional Amendment Act removed the exemption provided for split in a political party. And next one is the amendment retained exemption related to merger. And third one is a split by 1/3 of legislatures is still protected from disqualification. The amendment strengthened anti-defection framework. So what I said, you have to remember this 91st Constitutional Amendment Act for sure. So before this, we have 1/3. And they said split. If the split happens or if there is any merger, they will be not disqualified. But now after this, what we did, we increased it to 2/3. And now we says only that people has to merge with another political party. There should not be any split and they should not form a separate party. Okay, now answer this, guys. 91st CAA removed exemption provided for split. Yes, it removed split, but what it said? It said only merger. That means 2 statements are correct. And see this third one, a split by 1/3 legislature still protected. No, we removed that and we increased it to 2/3. That means you have to eliminate option which is having 3. And see this amendment strengthened. Yes. So answer will be 1, 2 and 4. So in that way you have to answer the questions. If you are trying to eliminate one statement and you have to eliminate that option also, strike down that option, and in the remaining you have to choose wisely. Okay, see this next one, guys. Consider the following statements regarding sickle cell disease. It is a genetic disorder affecting hemoglobin. And next, see here, it is particularly prevalent among tribal populations in India. It is caused by viral infection transmitted through mosquitoes. The disease causes red blood cells to assume sickle shape. If you don't know also, this is right, no? Eliminate one. One option eliminated. You came with 75% chance now. And this one is for sure it is not a viral infection. It is a genetic disorder. Option you can eliminate which is having 3. So in that way also you can do, guys. This type of questions is easy to do. But in yesterday's class we did only 1 statement correct, 2 statement correct. That will be difficult to eliminate. So this kind of things you can do easily. Okay, so that's all, guys. By this I'm concluding. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this class, please do hit the like button and please do share this class to your friends. And if you have not yet been subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe, guys. Thank you.